Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Random Chatter. This is our review show for this week. And with me tonight, I've got my normal co-hosts and my abnormal co-host, I guess, Eric and Tim. Tim, how are you?
I'm the abnormal one, and I'm doing great. Thank you very much.
And Eric, how are you?
To be the abnormal one.
You can both be
I'm
abnormal.
just normal.
You really are.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, that makes me feel better. I'm doing better now then.
Very good.
I mean, they got your brain from Abby, someone.
At what?
I don't know.
Abby, someone.
I missed it.
Abby, normal?
Yes.
We need the rim shot sound effect. Anyway.
Got nothing there.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Sorry.
Okay. Well, let's see. What have we been watching this past week?
I saw very little this week. I'll admit,
I haven't seen today, a lot either. I've seen a few things.
Today I was working on the show notes for this morning, and I realized I had like 3 things. And I'm like, shoot, or 2 things, I think. I said, I'm going to spend the rest of the day. And one of them was something I forgot to mention last week. It was actually supposed to be for last week. So I frantically tried to scramble and watch some things today just to have something to cover. We had a lot of stuff last week. So...
We did, but this week we have some good stuff too. So first off, let's see, the Moon Knight trailer. I know Tim is dying to talk about this because he's a huge Moon Knight fan. And I don't know very little about Moon Knight myself. So Tim, educate me and the rest of our audience out there as to what is so good about this trailer and why we should want to be having this on our radar.
This is the highest viewed Disney Plus series trailer ever. It broke 1 million views. I think Hawkeye is now second with like 914,000 or something like that.
The funny thing is nobody understood what was going on in the trailer. A, because the trailer was confusing, and B, because it aired during football, so everybody was drunk. So, yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking views in terms of on YouTube. So, because everyone can go to YouTube and watch it.
That's true.
I still not understand
it. Yeah, so it is very much they're really amping up kind of like a psychological thriller aspect to this. Moon Knight has a identity disorder, multiple personality disorder.
Dissociative identity disorder, DID.
And so, yeah, dissociative, yeah. So, that is, they're kind of already punching up a lot of this, and he's basically can't make sense of life and what's a dream and what isn't, what's reality. So you get a lot of imagery in this, and as far as a trailer, I will admit it's not pieced together very well, but they do give us a lot of shots of kind of like the whole setup of this, as well as a little bit of the Egyptian god that is kind of behind Moon Knight as a character and gives him the powers. And we kind of saw a little bit toward the end of the trailer that the wrappings, almost like mummy wrappings, come around to form Moon Knight's outfit, which is really cool because that is not a comic book thing. His outfit has always been like all of us put on our pants one leg at a time, kind of the same thing. It's never been like this supernatural thing. So I actually like that they're amping up like the supernatural aspect of it. Really very cool. And it is going to be, from all accounts, particularly inside Marvel Studios and Disney Plus, the most violent and the most kind of hardcore Disney Plus series that we've ever seen.
Okay.
Now that said, it's still a Disney Plus series, so don't expect like heads exploding and that kind of stuff. But it is going to be.
I have
dark.
to say, I'm not interested in the supernatural side of it at all. But the fact that it's a psychological thriller really interests me a lot, and I love the trailer. Like, the trailer's confusing, but I don't mean that as an insult. I mean that it really sets the tone for what I think the series is going to be. I hope it represents the series well, because if the series matches the tone of the trailer, the series is going to be incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's one of these things where you're right. It was confusing, but it was confusing in a way that makes me want to watch it to learn what it's all about.
Exactly.
Yeah, it did hold my interest in the trailer. And I know nothing about the character, so I'm going to be learning with a lot of people on this. Now, this is a Disney Plus series. Do we know how many episodes we're getting, Tim?
I
looked it up, and the official word is 6. Not enough. Because Disney Plus.
Sense. Yeah. So.
Sorry, I'm going to keep beating that dead horse until
March 30th.
March 30th?
So it's right around
yes,
the corner.
March 30th is when it comes out, yeah.
Okay. So I think we're all on board with that. New series on HBO Max, I think it was, came out. Peacemaker.
Yes.
This is the what do they call him? The most unlovable superhero or something? What was his tagline?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I knew this is coming. I have not watched it at all myself. I know you have, Eric. I don't know if Tim has or not. I hated the character in Suicide Squad.
I did too.
And I have no desire to see it. So convince me why I should see this.
Because because it is a glorious train wreck. It is because everybody else on the show hates the character too. So you'll fit right in. This is not a character that is meant to be liked. And even when they make him kind of sympathetic, they still don't. And I'm with you. Like, I didn't like the character in Suicide Squad. You weren't supposed to like the character. But I think he portrayed that unlikable character well. And I think James Gunn really brilliantly created that character. I think the casting was good. Like, John Cena messes that character up perfectly. And then, I mean, the writing in Suicide Squad was so good. To be clear, the second Suicide Squad movie, not the first one.
Yeah, right.
And then to take that and make a series out of it, like when I first heard about it, and then I saw the post-credit scene at the end of Suicide Squad, I was rolling my eyes. Carrie and I had discussions in Discord about it, and I was like, oh, I don't want to see this. This is gonna. Why would they do this? Mm-hmm. Why do you need a series about this character? Dude, the series is freaking awesome. It's just, I was telling Tim, it's like Archer. If Archer were like really, really R-rated, and if Archer were stupid, and if it were live action and in the DC universe, like it's just, it's one of those things where everything works and it's hard to describe. The humor it works. It's everything that James Gunn does well carries over into this series, in my opinion. You're not going to like the character. You're not supposed to like the character. The character is a jerk. He's incompetent, and he's horrible. Yet he thinks he's awesome. Like, he thinks he's a hero. He thinks he's doing exactly the right thing and is going to save the world and everything. And he's just so flawed. It's great though. It's It's very R-rated. It's very, I think it's very funny. And Tim, I really think you need to watch the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I do intend to.
You still will not like this character, but
that's fine. I like James Gunn stuff, obviously. So, you know, I'm going to watch it for that. And I've heard a lot of good things about the movie anyway. In terms of this character, we had the discussion over on Guardians, I think a couple weeks ago. And then you and I actually had some of this discussion between shows tonight. I'm not a fan of John Cena as an actor. So I kind of couldn't care less.
I've not seen him in anything that I've liked him in ever. Not a single thing ever.
Right.
Until this.
And to me, it's like he's trying so hard to be another The Rock. Though,
but he doesn't come across that way. And you're right. And Tim said that in between the shows when you stepped out, Lou. He doesn't come across that way in this character. Every role he takes, he does. You're right. This character is different.
Okay.
This is exactly where he needs to be. This is his character.
Okay.
So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
I'm with you on all the rest. Don't care for anything else he's done.
So I feel like there's a lot of stuff I haven't seen here. The next one up in our show notes here is something I have not seen either, and you guys both have. This is Don't Look Up.
Yeah, Tim, I talked about this last week. Tim, you saw this?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think?
Yeah. So after you talking it up last week, this definitely ended up on my list for the week. And similar to what you said, really haven't watched a whole lot of stuff this past week, but this was one of them. And everything you said about it, just freaking fantastic. The satire in it, the cast is incredible. It's really well done. It just hits so close to home in terms of like politics over the last few years and just the absolute silliness of, the grass is green. No, it's not, kind of stuff. And it just absolutely wild. It was fun. It was a really good movie. I don't know that it's necessarily one of those movies that I would watch again, because I think you watch it once, you appreciate it,
what
you
need
get
to
it.
see.
You've seen what you need to see. You recommend it to other people because it has a lot of great value to it. And then you move on with life. But, I definitely would recommend it. I totally watch it. It's good.
You should watch it, Lou. I think it'll be the same thing. You won't want to rewatch it and you won't love it.
It's good for one viewing.
But it'll be one of those like, wow, yeah, this kind of hits home. It kind of creeps me out a little bit. Like I went to bed that night. I mentioned this in the last show. I was disturbed. Like I was kind of laying there falling asleep and I'm like, wait a minute, that didn't happen, right? Like that's not, because it was just so exactly what would happen. Like they would mess things up that bad. Anyway, yeah, it's worth watching. It's good.
Okay. Something I have never heard of, Eric. So you tell me about Archive 81.
You know how Netflix does their top 10 things currently on Netflix? Mm-hmm. This is either number 1 or number 2 right now. I forget. The other one's Ozark, season 4. So it's either in first place or second place on Netflix right now. It's a series, I think 8 or 9 episodes. It is about a guy who specializes in reconstructing videotape, because everything's digital now, right? I mean, even DVDs are antiquated. So like VHS tapes, High 8, Betamax, all those things, but there's a lot of footage, hundreds of millions of hours of footage out there sitting around on tapes for different things. And so he specializes in restoring this stuff. So he gets hired to do this job where he's restoring footage that was taken. It was found in a building that had burned. I believe it's in New York City. And it's of this woman who, I think it was in the 90s, went through and was interviewing different people who lived in this building. This building used to be some kind of mansion and was partially torn down, and this apartment building was built over top of it, and kind of some weird things going on in there. So he's restoring this footage, and then as he's going along, kind of learning what actually happened. And it's one of those things I can't talk too much about without spoiling it. Some of it happens in modern time. And the other thing is, because of the confidentiality of it and the nature of like how damaged the materials are, he has to go to a certain site to actually do the reconstruction. So kind of think Ex Machina a little bit, Lou.
Okay.
He's kind of remote. He's kind of cut off from the rest of the world while he's putting this stuff together. And then some of the footage is actually, it's not just the video footage of her in the building. Like we flash back to that time period. I'm about 4 episodes into it right now, I think. for not really being my style of show, it's really good. So again, a little bit of, it appears there might be kind of a supernatural thing going on. It's kind of hard to tell because it's very much a what is real, what isn't real sort of story going on. They do it well.
Okay.
I just realized that I watched the trailer for this. This is on Netflix. I watched the Netflix trailer for it. And did in fact add this to my list because the trailer looked really fascinating.
Okay,
so
cool.
And the trailer is what hooked me too. It's one of those things where, you know, you leave your cursor on the screen for too long and it starts auto playing the trailer. And it caught me and I'm like, okay, this looks like it could be interesting. So very much, you know, psychological thriller. But it's thriller might be a little bit of a misnomer. It's creepy. And it's getting to the point where it's starting to ramp up quite a bit. First episode's a little bit of a slow burn, but it's written well. It's done well. The pacing is intentionally slow at points, and I think that's okay. So if you like horror, if you like supernatural stuff, if you like kind of the mind game twisty kind of things, this is definitely interesting. Still don't quite know what's going on, but I'm definitely engaged. I don't feel the urge to multitask. It's good. I'd recommend it.
Okay. Cool. I will definitely add that to my watch list then too. Let's see here. Of course, my computer just froze. So
Ozark.
What's next on our
season
list?
4. I threw this on the
right.
list thinking, obviously Lou is going to have caught up with Ozark. So,
well, you know, see, I watch it with my wife, and we haven't had a chance to watch it together. So I know I would have watched most of it by now if I had.
Okay, I'll let her know you're blaming her for it. She'll appreciate that.
No, don't do that. No, she doesn't listen to the show. Don't do that.
It's good. I mean, Ozark was one of those shows that I had no interest in watching it. And once I started, like, the first episode was good. It wasn't great. Second episode got better. And by about the fourth episode in, I was hooked. And I just,
it sucked you
oh
in.
my gosh. Fourth or fifth episode, I'm like, oh, this is.
The writing is great. The acting is great.
I did not watch anything else.
Jason Bateman
at the time
does an awesome job with this. You really
he
believe
directs too.
In the character.
He directs the show. I think he's like the showrunner.
I believe so, yeah.
It's just, the writing blows my mind. The acting is incredible too. What is it? Laura Linney?
Yeah, his wife, yep.
Oh my gosh. It's one of the best shows on TV. And so season 4 is going to be the final episode. This is season 4, part 1.
Final season, yep.
And then I think in late February, mid-March, somewhere in that time frame, they're bringing back part 2.
Okay.
So I think we got like maybe 8 episodes in this one. So the opening scene for the season,
better than a Disney Plus show.
Not going to give any spoilers, but the opening scene kind of packs a punch.
Okay.
And then we kind of,
I'm gonna have to go back and watch the last episode of season 3.
Kind of set that aside, and we come back and see. I didn't do that, and I really should. They give you a little bit of a recap if you go into like the trailers section in Netflix. You can see a little bit of a recap of it. I think that might be enough. I may still go back and rewatch that third episode. I might just rewatch the whole series. I'd meant to before it came out. I forgot it was coming out. Just so good. Tim, you gotta.
It's a good show.
I know you've watched like an episode of it, and you were kind of like lukewarm on it.
Yeah, that's about it.
I would recommend you give it another chance. If you can get into like 3 or 4 episodes, and by the 4th episode, if you just have zero interest in it, that's fine. But I think.
I mean, it seemed interesting. It's just one of those things that, like, in the priority of the whole list of other things that we have, it just kind of hasn't jumped in yet. And you know,
I think I mentioned this before too. I was working on my watch list, and I whittled it down to 150 items. Yeah.
Wow.
It's good though. Like I'm setting everything else aside to watch. In fact, that was one of those things where I realized the only thing I've watched this week is Ozark. I need to like get some other things on the list here.
Let's see here. Oh, so I watched something new actually
Okay.
for the first time in a long time. NBC is a new sitcom called American Auto. They're touting it as the next Office, but is it that good? I don't know. It's tough. I've only
You
seen a
never
couple
want to say that
episodes.
though. Like you never. The moment
I
you
know,
say that,
but
everybody's
if you
like,
say that,
I don't know.
yeah, if you're saying about your own stuff, it's like no, you're wrong then.
Right.
So
Yeah.
this is a inept American automaker bring in a CEO from outside of the industry who doesn't know anything about cars, and she's going to run the company, and it's okay. I mean, I've seen 2 episodes I think now.
Seems like it would have been good like a decade or 2 ago.
Well, with what's going on with the auto industry being shaken up by electrification, this and that, I think it's got some legs to go with it.
Okay.
But it's just not as funny as I would have liked it to be. But
I'm completely out of touch with like the new network shows. I forgot that there are networks.
It feels weird watching a new show on. I'm like, oh, a new show on a network.
Yeah,
That's
it's
novel.
like I've
Okay.
stopped keeping track of when that happens throughout the year now. I know it used to happen in the fall, and now I've kind of.
So yeah, but it's out there. Check it out. It's worth a laugh, but it's nothing that's going to be like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Mm.
Speaking of shows on normal TV, Resident Alien comes back.
Oh,
on
does
Wednesday.
it?
I can't wait.
Oh,
Yeah.
I need to catch up then. I'm gonna have to bump that up on my list. Ozark
Yep,
first.
That's gonna be
then
fun.
Resident Alien.
I also found a new series on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
Called Drain the Oceans. National Geographic special. It's I don't know how many episodes are into it, maybe 8 or 9.
Bring them into what? Where are you gonna put all the water?
It's a good question. I don't know. Maybe
I mean, actually, with climate change, the ocean levels are increasing.
big sponges. Big sponges.
There you go.
High-powered pumps.
Invest now.
Oh, okay.
No, the premise of this is they investigate undersea either wrecks or geological formations, mysteries, that kind of stuff. And the theory is they're gonna drain the water virtually by way of high-res sonar scans and high-res photography and computer modeling, and see what it looked like if you were to drain the ocean, to see what was down there. In typical
A lot of dead fish.
documentary
Smelling really bad.
in typical documentary fashion, though, they they'll is like 15 minutes of content that's really worthwhile seeing in a 47-minute show. So
okay.
they tease it and tease it and tease it. Oh, here it is, and then they go on to the next segment. And the first one, Tim, you might want to watch it. It deals with secrets that the Nazis had in World War II. So secret weapons, that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool. A couple good sequences there. The second episode that I watched was on the Gulf of Mexico, and you'll learn a little bit about the area they're doing it and so forth. But it just seems like there's very little content for the amount of time I invested in the show. So unfortunately, it's something I'd like to say would be a lot better than I was hoping it was going to be, or I hope it was going to be better than it really is, but it doesn't really do it for me. But it's cool to see that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I can't say yes, watch it. I can't say no, don't watch it. But my 2 cents. We have Harry Potter Return to Hogwarts, and we mentioned this last week. I think I watched this. I think you guys had started it, maybe both of you, or just Eric, maybe.
I got about halfway through it. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet.
Okay, and Tim, have you watched this now?
Yeah, watched it today. It was fantastic. I was really, really impressed with it. Really well done. I mean, it's basically full feature length, movie length. They kind of went, movie by movie, but also kind of broke those down into certain themes too. Like, a lot of the big cast members on there and stuff. Really cool conversation, some great behind the scenes stuff, which I really appreciated. Great interactions between a lot of the actors. Not only, the main actors who you always saw on screen together, but also interactions between actors that you really didn't see on screen together so much. They had all the directors on to talk about like their creative process and all that stuff. It was good. And also just kind of because of how big of a, of a universe got built. And of course, the books came before this, but the movies were the visualization of that. And that's what got so many people even more bought into it, because, we had these characters right in front of us. And, so it's a reunion, it's a 20-year reunion. So you end up with kind of some emotion in there, and there, a little bit of in memoriam for folks like Alan Rickman and others who had passed away since. And, just done exceptionally well. Was really, really happy with it.
The emotionality of the actors kind of gushing on one another never really overpowered it. I was expecting that to kind of be the thing.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't. There was a lot of actual discussion about what the experiences were like. And that's interesting. I kind of want to see the human side of it too. And we got a little bit of that, but it didn't overpower the actual content. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was nice that it was almost like watching them grow up, right? Because the actors are all, 20 years older than they were when they started, obviously. But you get to see them come up through the ranks as just, almost like the first movie they were kind of like playing, not really acting.
Can you imagine being that little and getting to grow up with like Alan Rickman? And
they talk about
it's
that.
just insane.
Fantastic.
Gary Oldman.
We didn't know who we were really acting with really until later. It's like, oh my God, it's like, we were acting with these with royalty within the media, and they didn't really even know it. They just that's Alan. You guys are right. It was a very well done a very well done movie. I was almost more involved, engrossed in watching the movie than I was watching the movies. There was so much detail there and so much talk about how they did stuff and how they learned things and just their experiences growing up in front of the camera. I thought was fantastic.
It does make me want to go back and rewatch the movies. I haven't watched them in a long time.
Well, that being said, I am. I've got this in notes later on, but I'm in the third movie now. But I figured, what? It's good time to go back and watch it. Just watch the behind the scenes movie thing, and I was just at Universal Studios recently, so I'm like, I'm gonna start watching them again. And it's a different. I look at the movies differently now, knowing kind of what I know now about what they've talked about. So it's kind of neat to go back and watch them now.
We talk a lot about Batu and Galaxy's Edge and stuff, but Universal Studios, the Harry Potter stuff, mind-blowingly good. It's really good.
And I'll say similarly, Lou, in terms of movies, after we had watched that, just happened to be scrolling through things today to see what was on, and on Sci-Fi, they're doing a full marathon of Harry Potter movies. So we picked it up, like right at the very beginning of the fourth movie. And so that's what's been on, for the rest of the day in my house. And like you said, it's like, there's a certain scene or something in one of the movies, and you're like, oh, they talked about that.
Right.
And I love that stuff. I love that stuff. So, and it's a great franchise. A lot of fun and just thoroughly enjoyable.
Well, very good. Going from wizardry to space. Tim, you just finished season 3 of Lost in Space?
Yeah. So last week, I think I talked some about season 3. We did finish it up this past week, and it ends exceptionally well.
Good.
And basically the same recommendation I had last week. If you kind of got a little turned off by the pacing of season 2 and the story they told in season 2, do absolutely jump into season 3. It is totally worth it. The season 3 is the best season of the series. It is the final season of the series, and it's just fantastic how it wraps up. All the storytelling is just awesome. It's great.
I hate it when they get it right for the last season and you want more.
Right.
Yeah.
There's too many shows that do that, because they'll start out strong, they'll fall down in their sophomore season, and then they'll get it right, and maybe for season 2, and then that's it, we're done. It's like, come on. Because I love the concept of Lost in Space. I had not seen season 3 yet. I see the first episode. And I'm hooked. It looks like a really good season, but I haven't finished it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Tim, you and I are both watching Battlestar Galactica. I think last time we talked, we were both finished season 2. I am most of the way through season 3 now. I don't know where you are with your rewatch, or your first watch, I should say.
I have not gotten. I have like 2 episodes left in season 2. I haven't watched any in at least a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been wanting to, but
I'm trying to remember which episodes were in which seasons now between 2 and 3. Because I know there was the break halfway through season 2. And then,
season 2 finishes really strong. I think season 2 is a good season. Season 3 is
season 2 had some rough moments though. Wasn't Black Market in season 2?
Yeah.
There were a couple of others.
Yeah, that was in season 2. Yep.
3 wasn't bad though.
Well, season 3 was the New Caprica stuff. So
right.
You see how Tim enjoys that sequence. So okay, moving right along, something we can all enjoy here. BattleBots. You guys up to date with your most recent episode of BattleBots?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
There's some good fights.
We need to start doing live viewings together, and then we can argue. we can, like, I don't want to say put bets down, but we can, make predictions on who's going to win. And
Yep. There was some good bouts that I didn't think were going to turn out the way they turned out. I was really excited to watch this most recent episode, especially the title fight. Oh my God, was that awesome or what?
Yeah, there's some real heavy hitters in this last episode, and I was just really impressed with it.
One of my favorites was in this one, but I can't remember the name of the bot. The one with it's got the drum spinner.
That the
Copperhead.
Oh, Copperhead.
Yes, thank you.
That was a title fight. Yeah, Copperhead's a formidable bot.
I had predicted Copperhead to win last year, and it did not.
I predicted it'd be towards
Copperhead
the end,
dissects other robots like crazy.
Yeah.
I had Copperhead placed pretty high last year. That and Uppercut. I was really bummed when Uppercut got knocked out.
Yeah, I had both of those placed pretty high. But I'm so surprised with Copperhead. It's such a small, compact bot, and it doesn't even seem to move when it hits something. So some bots, they'll get a hit on something, but they get almost as much damage as everybody else does, and they get moved back or flipped around. But I mean, this thing just stays rock solid and just does all kinds of damage.
And that's the thing. A lot of those that spin really fast, they hit once, and then gyroscopically they lose control, and then they have to recover either by spinning their weapon down a little bit, or then they take damage in the meantime, either by damaging themselves or the other bot moves in for the kill. And Copperhead doesn't have that. Very low center of gravity to the ground. It's balanced, powerful weapon. I mean, it's a good bot.
I thought the huge fight was good this week too, and I'm not a big fan of the huge bot. So
I like Huge, and it was interesting. I mean, it was unfortunate because it ended the way it did, but
I liked Huge at first, and now I'm kind of tired of him.
I like Mammoth better than Huge, but
for me, they're both basically like thought exercises, right? Like, how do you take a normal bot and then figure out a way to beat those two specific individual bots?
Right.
Because basically they're meta breakers. And other than that, like, they're never going to win anything. They're what I would call a hurdle bot. Like, they're there as an obstacle, and how do you get around it?
True. Yep. So speaking of doing a live watch together, what night is this on? I don't even know anymore.
Thursdays,
I think. Yeah.
Thursdays. Well, though
maybe we should discuss that offline.
We can choose whatever time we want.
Sure, we could.
We should. And, another thing we could do is we could watch it together in VR. We need to have an episode. Now that we all have VR helmets, we need to have an episode of Random Chatter in which we discuss virtual reality games and hardware and like what our experiences are with it and all of that.
And what better way to do it than,
oh my gosh. VR, sure. If you want to set all that up, Tim, it's harder than
no, Eric, you just offered. You were.
I offered to discuss it.
You're the video tech guy, Eric.
You've had the VR set longer than us.
Oh my gosh, so. I'm looking into it.
Yeah,
I'm looking into it. We need to do some tests first, but
no pressure. Yeah,
but we could talk about it first, and then we could do shows from within VR.
We could. That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun. So I got the last few things on the list here. Really older stuff. Really catching up on Flash. I'm still catching up on Flash.
Yeah, I have to too.
I'm in the current season now, which is good, but still lagging behind. And Superman and Lois just came back again, so it's season 1. I think it is. I don't know if it's season 2 or the second half of season 1, but it's okay. It's nothing.
I guess I've kind of lost faith in
something I watch in the background.
The Arrowverse stuff. I need to finish Arrow and I need to finish Flash because those are the two I was most invested in. And the rest at this point, kind of back to what you were saying earlier, Tim, like I've got so many other things to watch.
Right. And I always feel compelled because they're on my DVR. I'm like, I should watch these. They're on my DVR. I should watch them. It sucks because it's like I feel like I have to watch them. And I hate that feeling. I finally finished up Supergirl recently within the last month or two.
I need to finish that one too.
I hated the way it ended.
Oh, really?
I mean, the ending was okay, but I hated what the show became in the last season and a half or so. It was like they were bringing in all these other characters and making a team out of this, and it was the Super Friends, and I'm like, it's not what I thought it was going to be, and it was trying really hard to be inclusive of all things for all people, and it got too preachy.
Well,
almost.
And it felt like it ran out of story ideas at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. But that's all I got. You guys got anything else last minute you want to add in?
No.
Quick tech review. Some people have heard before a guest on the podcast, an unintended guest whose name I will not mention, or she/it will make yet another appearance on the show, and that would be my Amazon branded automated assistant. And so I don't really do much birthday celebrating anymore, just being on my own. So I typically get myself my own birthday present. And I thought, well, what if I decided to get an Apple HomePod Mini and see if I can get rid of this Amazon stuff? Because I'm also tired of, like, 1 out of every 4 times I ask it, what time is it? Or what's the forecast today? Or set an alarm, like basic things. Like, I don't need it to do anything. Just like, tell me when 10 minutes is up. Okay, 10-minute timer set. Did you know you can also buy 300 pounds of birdseed on Amazon? Like, no, I don't freaking care. Just do this one simple thing. I've already paid you money to get the little things. I don't need ads too. And I can't get it turned off. So I'm done with it. Plus, it doesn't integrate with any of my to-do list stuff. I can't send text messages from it. I can't answer phone calls. And you can do all this stuff with the Apple HomePod, as well as some other things. That handling music, way better on the Apple HomePod than on the Amazon stuff. Yep. And it will pair up as external speakers for an Apple TV.
Right.
So,
and I'll tell you, the speaker technology for these things being little is actually really damn good. I mean, you're getting, you're not getting Bose quality out of them, but it's very good quality for the size of it and for what you're getting. We have, I think, 5 of them in the house now.
The Apple ones, you've got the Google ones, right?
Or I'm sorry, Google. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And all different configurations, everything from their main home one to the little hockey puck ones. The alarm clock in the bedroom is a Google one, so it has, it's a digital alarm clock.
Yeah.
But it's also a Google device. Have one in my office. I mean, they're quite good, and of course a lot of things, particularly with this being an older house, with certain things not being so accessible because there's a very small number of outlets and that kind of stuff in the house. Really convenient to have things tied to smart plugs and bulbs.
Yeah,
and
I've got the lights and stuff set up too.
Yeah,
right.
I have a hard time waking up in the morning, so the fact that it turns all of the lights up as bright as they'll possibly go, with like the white LED sunlight like lights helps. But I think I've got 5 or 6 of the Amazon devices, and I've just got the one HomePod Mini so far. And I will say this, I actually do or have owned many Bose products, and I'm going to say the HomePod Mini is Bose level audio. Yes, it doesn't have a subwoofer.
So, right.
But if you like, especially when you crank it up louder, you get 0 distortion in it. It's got more bass than anything that size has an excuse to have. The difference in audio between this and the Amazon ones that I own and the Google ones that I've heard it's a big difference in audio quality.
It's a big difference over the Google one, because I got a couple Google devices. I got one Apple HomePod Mini, and I'm going to change it over to Apple HomePod Minis instead of the Google devices. But it doesn't rival the Bose. So
it's not as okay. It's not as good as one of the Bose. You're right.
Not the big one, but the medium-sized Bose smart speaker they have, because it said integration with Apple, this and that. It doesn't work with Apple Music, and I'm like, God damn it, it sounds way better. I mean, I can stream to it from my phone.
It's also bigger,
but it is. It's a lot. It's much bigger, but the sound is tremendous.
Oh, yeah, no, it's really good.
The Apple what the Apple HomePod Minis do better than anything else out there is they do spatial audio,
right? Which
is phenomenal. Yeah. You put a couple of these together and get spatial audio going. It's just amazing. In fact, I also can play Apple Music through my stereo via the Apple TV, and spatial audio with a Dolby Atmos receiver is amazing. I mean, it used to be, stereo was all you needed. No, this is like, 5 point or 7.1 surround sound for your music, and it's amazing.
The only thing that I wish, like, I would have spent the extra money to get the HomePod, but they took it off the market. And if you have 2 HomePods, then you can do 7.1 surround using 2 HomePods. Wow. Not the Mini, but like the full-size HomePod. But they stopped making them. Well, and you can do 2.1 with the Minis. You can't do full surround with the Minis.
Sure. I believe they're going to be upgrading that so you can do spatial audio for basically Atmos for movies.
I hope they do with the Minis, because I'll go ahead and buy however many I need to if that's going to also give me surround sound at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not that rich. I'm not doing it today, but if that's what it takes, then yeah. Anyway, so point is, my review of it, it is worth the price difference. The integration with Apple stuff is a billion times better. The stability of the system seems to be better. The only single tiny thing that Amazon won was when I asked, how much snow are we supposed to get tomorrow? Amazon could tell me. Apple said, yes, it does look like it's going to snow tomorrow. That's the only thing. Otherwise, the Apple won out in every test that I tried to run it through. It controls the lights better. I could go down a whole list of things, and I won't, but it's worth the difference in money. And I'll probably get at least one more and pair them both up as a stereo pair with my Apple TV.
Nice.
Yeah, they're good.
I agree.
That's all I got.
Okay. Eric, take us home.
That's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. If you're in the live chat room, stick around. In a few minutes, we're going to do a quick top 5. We're going to be covering our top 5 biggest surprises, both good and bad, of 2021. And don't forget to give us some feedback on whether you like that whole top 5 thing or not. This is something new we're trying out. We want to see if you guys want us to keep doing it. We are also going to be talking about bringing Trailer Breakdown back and probably going back to the top 3 news items of the week, now that we're starting to get some actual news trickle in slowly. I'm really, really hoping that 2022 gives us a little bit more going on in the industry than we saw last year, but fingers crossed. But that's going to do it for this episode of Random Chatter. Don't forget to hit the website, and then also go over to YouTube, youtube.com/randomchatter, hit subscribe and hit the like button, get the notifications by hitting that notification button as well. And you can go to randomchatter.com/Discord, join the Discord community. And I'm not wearing one of the t-shirts today, but if you go to randomchatter.com/store, you can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff with Random Chatter logo, Movie Chatter, Force Chatter, various different logos from various different shows on the network. It's a great way to help support the network while also getting something back. So we really appreciate the people who have been picking those up. That's going to do it for this episode. We will see you again soon.